Every night, without ceremony, the mind disconnects from the world. Muscles loosen, eyes close. The stream of sensory input that defines waking life fades to near silence. And yet, consciousness does not vanish. Instead, it turns inward. Images appear, scenes unfold, emotions surge without obvious cause. Entire worlds rise and collapse in the dark. Convincing, immersive, and often impossible. We call these experiences dreams, and for most of human history we treated them as messages, omens, illusions, or meaningless noise. But modern science has revealed something stranger. Dreams are not random, they are structured, purposeful, and deeply tied to the way consciousness itself is built. To understand dreams scientifically, we must begin with sleep, not as rest, but as an active biological state. Sleep is not the brain shutting down, it is the brain changing modes. Across the night, the brain cycles through distinct stages, each marked by unique patterns of electrical activity. Among these stages, one stands out: REM sleep, or rapid eye movement sleep. This is where the most vivid dreams occur. During REM, the brain's activity begins to resemble waking consciousness. Neurons fire rapidly, visual areas light up, emotional centers surge with activity, and yet the body is temporarily paralyzed, a safety mechanism preventing us from acting out our dreams. This combination is crucial. The brain is awake, but the world is gone. Sensory input from the outside is suppressed. What remains is a closed loop: memory, emotion, imagination, prediction, all interacting without external correction. Dreams are not interruptions to sleep, they are what the brain does when it is left alone with itself. One of the most important discoveries about dreams is that they are tightly linked to memory. During sleep, the brain reorganizes the experiences of the day. It strengthens some connections, weakens others, and integrates new information into existing networks. This process is not a simple replay. Memories are fragmented, recombined, and recontextualized. Emotional tone matters more than factual accuracy. A brief embarrassment may loom larger than an entire conversation. A fear may resurface, disguised as a different threat. Dreams are the visible trace of this invisible work. This explains why dreams feel familiar but distorted. Faces blend, places merge, timelines collapse. The dreaming brain is not trying to tell a story, it is trying to optimize itself. It is compressing experience into patterns that can be reused later. Logic is sacrificed for meaning. Precision is replaced by relevance. What matters is not what happened, but what mattered. Emotion plays a central role in this process. During REM sleep, the amygdala, a key center for emotional processing, becomes highly active. Meanwhile, regions of the brain responsible for rational control and self-monitoring quiet down. This imbalance explains why dreams often feel emotionally intense and strangely unfiltered. Fear, desire, loss, and wonder emerge without restraint. The mind is allowed to explore emotional possibilities without consequence. In this sense, dreams are not just memories being processed, they are emotions being trained. This training function helps explain a puzzling feature of dreams, their realism. Even when dreams are absurd, they feel real while we are inside them. The brain uses the same perceptual machinery in dreams that it uses when awake. Visual cortex activity during dreams closely resembles that of real vision. The difference is not in the signal, but in its source. Dreams are internally generated perceptions, hallucinations with purpose. They are the brain rehearsing reality without the risks of reality. This rehearsal aspect becomes clearer when we examine the content of common dreams. Being chased, falling, losing control, arriving unprepared. These are not random themes. They map closely onto situations that demand rapid emotional and behavioral responses. Evolutionarily, a brain that could simulate threats and practice responses during downtime would have an advantage. Dreams in this view are a survival technology, a safe sandbox for dangerous possibilities. Importantly, this does not require consciousness in the human reflective sense. The brain does not decide to rehearse. It does not know it is dreaming. The process is automatic. Subconscious systems generate scenarios based on prior experience, emotional salience, and predictive models. Consciousness simply rides along, observing the simulation from the inside. This brings us to one of the most unsettling scientific insights about dreams. They reveal how little control conscious awareness actually has. In waking life, we feel like authors of our thoughts. In dreams, that illusion collapses. Thoughts appear without permission. Scenes change without consent. Identity itself becomes fluid. You can be yourself, someone else, or no one at all, and yet the experience feels continuous. The sense of I persists even as its contents shift. This suggests that consciousness is not the director of mental life, it is the witness. Dreams expose this truth more clearly than waking thought ever does. When external input is removed, the mind continues anyway. Consciousness observes whatever the brain generates, whether logical or not. The difference between waking and dreaming is not the presence of awareness, but the source of information feeding it. From a scientific perspective, this reframes dreams as a boundary phenomenon. They sit at the edge between unconscious processing and conscious experience. They are where deep, automatic systems briefly surface into awareness. This is why dreams often feel meaningful, even when they make no sense. Meaning is not assigned afterward. It is generated by the same emotional systems shaping the dream itself. Crucially, nothing about this process is supernatural. No external signal is required. No hidden realm needs to be invoked. Dreams arise naturally from the architecture of the brain. But this does not make them trivial. In fact, it makes them more profound, because the same mechanisms that generate dreams also generate perception, memory, identity, and meaning during waking life. When you dream, you are not accessing something foreign, you are witnessing your mind stripped of its usual constraints. The world is gone, social rules vanish, physics becomes optional. What remains is the raw machinery of cognition, pattern making without oversight. And here is where the boundary begins to blur. If dreams are built from memory, emotion, and prediction, and if those processes are shaped by biology, evolution, and shared environments, then dreams are not entirely personal. The structures generating them are ancient, older than language, older than culture, older than individual identity. The human brain did not invent dreaming from scratch, it inherited it. The basic architecture of sleep and dream cycles appears across mammals and even birds. REM sleep is not a human invention, it is a biological pattern millions of years old. The themes that arise in dreams, fear, pursuit, loss, desire, are not random either. They reflect pressures that shaped nervous systems long before modern consciousness existed. This means that when you dream, you are not just processing your experiences, you are using machinery refined by countless generations. Your personal memories are poured into a structure built by evolution. The form of the dream is older than its content. Seen this way, dreams become echoes, not messages from outside reality, but reverberations of deep, shared processes. They are where individual experience intersects with universal constraints, biology, physics, information flow. The brain, after all, is not an isolated object. It is a physical system obeying the same laws as stars and storms. Neurons exchange energy, signals propagate, patterns stabilize and dissolve. Dreams are what these laws look like when applied inward, without external input. This is why dreams often feel like they come from somewhere else, even though they do not. They feel alien because the systems generating them are not fully accessible to conscious control. They feel symbolic because the brain communicates internally through patterns, not propositions. They feel meaningful because emotion, not logic, drives their construction. Science does not strip dreams of mystery. It relocates the mystery. The question is no longer what do dreams mean, but why does a physical system generate experiences at all, and why these experiences? At the end of this first layer, we are left with a quiet realization. Dreams are not noise, they are not messages, they are not accidents. They are what consciousness looks like when it is decoupled from the world and allowed to follow its own internal logic. They are the mind speaking to itself, using a language older than words. And once we accept that, a deeper question begins to surface. If dreams arise from shared biological structures, if their forms repeat across individuals and cultures, if their logic is rooted in universal processes, then how private are dreams really? And what else might be shaping them from beneath the surface of the individual mind?